Alright, Shalom. For I start off, like the first and foremost, give our honor, glory, and praise to our Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rakakudash. Double honor to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone and taught us the truth and rule well, and are the true leaders of the nation of Israel, which consists of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, as well as the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad. Alright, Shalom to the elect. Okay. And, this is just a quick lesson. Going into this article that you see here, which reads, these 11 countries will stop accepting the U.S. dollar in 2025. Use it before it's too late. Okay, and this all confirms what the elder apostles and other bishops on down of the Great Millstone have been saying for years, okay? That the dollar was on its way out, right? That this economy would collapse, and America is going to, America is going to fall. It is, okay? And we see it, all right? This place is falling fast, okay? You see, you have a lot of our people, all right, of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the Israelites, the true biblical Israelites, all right, willingly ignorant, okay, to the fact that this place being our captivity, all right, we weren't meant to live it up here. We weren't meant to be prosperous here, okay? And I'm going to get that where it says, in Micah 2:10, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted, right? It will destroy you, even with the sword destruction, if I quoted that right. Okay, but you're seeing the signs, all leading up to the destruction of this place in America by way of thermonuclear destruction, okay, by way of the ICBM nuclear missiles, the weapons of the Lord's indignation, okay? Because this place, since its inception, has been wicked, all right, in an oppressing city. It says, for nearly a century, the U.S. dollar has been the undisputed ruler of global trade. Since World War II, it has served not only as the primary medium for international transactions, but also as the world's dominant reserve currency. From crude oil and raw materials to foreign exchange reserves, the world revolved around the greenback. Today, roughly 80% of global trade still flows through the U.S. dollar, yet cracks are beginning to show in that dominance. So the U.S. is losing its dominance, okay? And what you have between the trade wars, all right? Yeah, Yahweh Shai prophesied that we would hear of wars and rumors of wars, okay? And he told us not to be troubled, because these things should come to pass, all right? But the end is not yet, But this is all leading up to the destruction. These nations are at odds with one another, okay? Trade wars, proxy wars, all right? And it's all the buildup to the destruction, man. But you see how they're warring against each other economically, and it's all for the purpose of bringing in, the digital dollar and the MOTB, all right? But it says today, okay, not according to conspiracy theorists, but according to respected financial voices like George Chain, chair of global research at J.P. Morgan. Her message is clear: the dollar may endure, but its influence is waning. Who's leaving the dollar behind? A group of 11 nations, primarily members of the Commonwealth of Independent States, the CIS, composed of many former Soviet republics, has announced that beginning in 2025, they will no longer rely on the U.S. dollar for international transactions. These countries include Armenia, Azerbaijan, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Moldova, Russia, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and Ukraine. It says, yes, even Ukraine, despite its ongoing conflict with Russia, is part of the group. In this case, shared economic strategy trumps political enmity, Slovakia. Their unified goal is clear: reduce dependence on Washington and reinforce their financial sovereignty. So this place's power is waning, all right? And the U.S. is out of there, man. It says, why is this shift happening now? A mix of politics, tragedy, and technology, right? And the technological aspect of this is to bring in the MOTB system, all right? What you have with the trade wars and the world economy being affected, this is all leading up to the MOTB. So the decision to ditch the dollar doesn't come out of nowhere. It's the result of years of watching and learning, especially from Russia, which has been steadily distancing itself from dollar-based trade since 2014. These countries are also equipped with the tools to go it alone. Advancements in digital currencies, the rise of bilateral trade agreements, and the development of alternative payment platforms make it easier than ever to bypass the dollar. This is more than just a financial move, it's a geopolitical statement. Let me see. It says this quiet change. This change doesn't just impact currencies, it's about rewriting the rules of engagement in global economics. By stepping away from the dollar, these nations are also stepping away from U.S. financial oversight and influence. All right. It says the move away from the dollar won't happen overnight. These countries are planning a phased transition starting in mid-2025 with financial institutions already laying the groundwork. So they're getting things prepared. You know, they're getting things prepared for this digital financial system. All right. So again, in short, this is all the beginning of the end, all right, for America's dominance and the U.S. dollar, okay? Even with this trade war between China and the U.S., all roads lead to trouble, man, all right? Economic collapse and chaos, So now I want to go to, real quick, matter of fact, let me get the book of Micah 2 and 10. This is Micah 2 and 10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Okay, how you're supposed to do that is spiritually, man. Get your spirit out of this place, America, man. All right? Because this is not your rest. This is not our rest, man. All right? This is the land of our captivity. Okay? And we're not here to be prosperous. Okay? We're not here to live it up, man. All right? We were here to serve captivity as punishment for our transgressions against the Heavenly Father. All right? So now it's time to seek the Lord, man. All right? And try hard to be in the good graces of Yahweh Shem Shai, man. Right? The elect are gonna, make the necessary moves. Okay? But of course, 2/3, all right? And they're gonna continue in their own wickedness until they be destroyed, man. All right? Rise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with the sword destruction. So that's the point. Let me go to Zephaniah 3 and 1. Zephaniah 3 and 1. Woe to her that is filthy and polluted, to the oppressing city. All right. And now this pertains to our people first and foremost. In the NLT it says, what sorrow awaits rebellious, polluted Jerusalem, the city of violence and crime. But when you equate this to now, this could refer to America, okay, the oppressing city. All right. Hey, because this place since its inception, has been wicked, man. All right, polluted, okay, and oppressing. All right, mainly to the Israelites. All right, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans here in the Western Hemisphere on American soil. All right. Hey, but this place is also oppressed other nations, man. All right, other peoples. Okay. And this is all leading up to the Lord's recompense upon this place. All for the this place is going to be destroyed, man. All right, for the controversy of Zion, for what they did with the biblical nation of Edom. All right, which we know are the so-called white race today. But what they did to the children of Israel, all right, not only in this time, but in times past as well. All right, Esau has had that perpetual hatred against our people. So there's a recompense coming for him. All right, and his power structure. All right, and since America's inception, they've been on rape, robbing, and murdering. All right, since these devils came into power. You know. Verse 2, she obeyed not the voice, she received not correction, she trusted not in the Lord, she drew not near to the Lord. Which again was talking about Israel, but you can equate it today because 2/3, all right, you have 2/3 of the nation of Israel that are rebellious, man, stiff-necked, and are going to be destroyed. Verse 3, our princes within are roaring lions, our judges are evening wolves. They gnaw not the bones till tomorrow. Going into all these, BS preachers in the church. They don't touch on biblical prophecy. Okay, and they don't speak on the MOTB, which we're watching, all right, is one of the last major prophecies left before the destruction of this place, all right, and the deliverance of the elect from America, mainly America, all right, but you have our people scattered throughout the four winds of heaven, throughout the whole earth, all right? And there aren't too many major prophecies left. Okay, we're in the closing of the sixth trump, going into the seventh. All right, and once the seventh is declared, at that time there's going to be no America. All right, so we see the buildup, and we know that we're close. All right, this place, it has to go. Everything happening is a sign that it's all coming to pass. Prophecies are intensifying, readily coming to pass. All right, and the vibration that's out here is war. Right, and the Lord, he's coming back to wage war. He's coming back to lay down destruction. Okay, by way of his chariots, so-called UFOs, and by way of the ICBMs, and nuclear missiles. All right. And also, you have the, false leadership within Israel. Okay. Prophesying falsely, giving our people smooth words. Her prophets are light and treacherous persons. Her priests are have polluted the sanctuary. They have done violence to the law. The just Lord is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity. All right, so judgment, all right, it is coming down from the Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai. The just Lord is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity. All right, and the Lord, the scriptures talk about how his judgments are righteous altogether. All right, and the Lord, he is visiting this earth. It says, every morning doth he bring his judgment to light. He faileth not, but the unjust knoweth no shame. Because, seeing all the things that have, recently been coming upon the earth. All right. I think in Second Ezra it talks about scourges that are sent for amendment. I believe that's either the 15th or the 16th chapter. You know, which scourges are punishments, man. You know, it said for all these they will not be mindful of the scourges. You know, because a majority of our people, they're not going to change or turn from the wickedness, which is why they have to be destroyed, which is why they have to be taken in the calamities that are coming upon this place. Right? And see, the Most High, he's going to use Esau to bring forth judgment. You know, scriptures talk about how he beareth not the sword in vain. And he is the sword of the Heavenly Father, pursuing Psalm 17:3. The wicked, right? Which is thy sword. See, when these devils get ready, they're going to come down. All right, they're going to come down, pursuing Revelation 12:12 with great wrath, knowing that they have but a short time. And this is the end, man. This is the end. This is the last hoorah for Esau. Okay, and after this, he's going into slavery. He's going to serve hardcore slavery for 1,000 years. Right, and after that, these devils are going to be rounded up as a whole and burnt up. You know? You see, these wicked elite up top, they know. And they're afraid. And they know they got to make a move. You know, because they don't want to go into captivity. And they want to upset prophecy. But it ain't just going to happen like that. All right? That's what this whole NWO is about. That's why they want to bring about the chip. Because ultimately, man, they want to be the Most High God on the earth. All right? Let's get Isaiah 30:1. It says, woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me. All right, the rebellious children dealing with the nation of Israel. Okay, children of Israel, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You know, and our people are stiff-necked and rebellious as all hell. Right? So again, they have to face what's coming upon the earth, man. All right? Sword, famine, death, and destruction. You know, and the prophets are back to declare these things. All right? As in the days of old. It says, woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. So our people take counsel, but not of the Lord. Neither do they inquire, all right, of the Lord through his prophets. You know? Our people are seeking, you know, wisdom everywhere, but Yahweh Shemel Shai, but the prophets, man. You know? And our people got a strong disdain for the righteousness of the Heavenly Father. So they speak ill of the prophets. They walk past the camp and they scoff and they mock. You know? Hey, but what does it say in Proverbs, the first chapter? For the turning away of the simple shall slay them. Let me get that real quick. Okay, this is Proverbs 1:29. For that they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord. And the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. All right. Matter of fact, fear of the Lord is to depart from evil. Job 28:28. And unto man he said, behold, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom, and to depart from evil is understanding. See, our people don't have any understanding, man. Neither do they desire it. You know? Elsewhere it says, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. Let's go back to Proverbs 1:32. Proverbs 1:30. They would none of my counsel. They despised all my reproof. In the NLT, they rejected my advice and paid no attention when I corrected them. Right? People don't inquire of the prophets. People don't care. They just think we're out there like a bunch of like a bunch of angry men just yelling for nothing. You know? People laugh. They scoff. They don't want to hear what's going on. They were none of my counsel. They despised all my reproof. Verse 31, therefore shall they eat the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own devices. 32, for the turning away of the simple shall slay them. In the NLT, for simpletons turn away from me to death. Fools are destroyed by their own complacency, and our people are complacent here in America, all right? But things are going to get a lot harder, all right? And a lot of strain is coming to the Americans, man, here in America, all right? You got our people basically American, you know? It says, verse 33, but whoso hearkeneth unto me shall dwell safely, and shall be quiet from fear of evil. And I don't see, but all who listen to me will live in peace, untroubled by fear or harm. You know? Let's go back to Isaiah 30. So, woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, that cover with the covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. That walk to go down to Egypt, and had not asked in my mouth. To strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh. All right, now who's in the stead of Pharaoh in this modern day Egypt? Esau, Edom, a self-proclaimed white man. All right. So we established how this is spiritual Egypt, pursuing Revelation 11:8, spiritual Sodom and Egypt. All right. This is where we're serving out our captivity. All right. And you have a lot of our people that trust the U.S. government and the Federal Reserve Note, the FRN. Okay. But it's on its way out. You know? Soon it's going to be just useless as toilet tissue, man. All right. Strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and the trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be ashamed in the trust of in the shadow of Egypt, your confusion. You see? Because America is ultimately failing, man. This place is swirling down the drain. You know? Why these countries why de-dollarization has begun. Okay, and these other countries are ditching the dollar, man. All right? The dollar is going to lose its value. You know? A lot is getting ready to happen, man. These people getting ready to experience a lot of shit. Hyperinflation. These people going to walk in the stores and a loaf of bread might be damn near $40. You know? They may walk in these stores and there'll be hardly anything. Because again, you got nothing coming into the ports. You know, the result of this trade war between U.S. and China. Second 22 talks about how the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. You know? So it's about to get real bad. It's about to get real bad for this place, America. And again, those of our people that want to still hope and trust in this place, and this devil, man, are going to be confounded. Jump down to 12. Wherefore said the Holy One of Israel, Yahweh Shemel Shai, because he despised this word, and trust in oppression and perverseness, and stayed thereon. Therefore this iniquity shall be to you as a breach, ready to fall. All right? Swelling out of a wall, a high wall, whose breaking comes suddenly at an instant. In the NLT, calamity will come upon you suddenly. Okay, and that word suddenly is thrown out there a lot. You know, again, mentioned 2 Ezra 6, 1 and 22, suddenly shall the place, sown places appear unsown. You know, full storehouses shall be found empty. Because to them, it's going to seem sudden. Right? To us in the know, we're watching for these things, man. All right? And we're getting ourselves prepared mentally. Lord willing, you know, we be found worthy to escape, man. You know, because Lord willing, we be of the elect. It says, therefore, this iniquity. Oh, okay. Let me read that in the LT again. Isaiah 30 and 12. This is the reply of the Holy One of Israel, because you despise what I tell you and trust instead in oppression and lies. Calamity will come upon you. And you know what? This devil Donald Trump, for a while, he was saying how the U.S. and China were negotiating behind the scenes. Meanwhile, China is saying he's full of shit. You know? So these people are being lied to. And you know, a majority of our people are eating up the lies. Because they hope in this place, man. Right? They may not agree with Trump and his policies, but they still hope in this place. Because this is the end all be all for Jake in America. All right? Calamity will come upon you suddenly, like a bulging wall that bursts and falls. In an instant, it will collapse and come crashing down. Yeah, that one little Jenga piece. You know, you think of a Jenga tower. All right? The Lord getting ready to snatch that one piece and let everything fall. You know? It's going to happen, man. It's going to happen soon. Because it was prophesied to happen. It says, I said on that. So America's breaking is going to come suddenly in that instant. All right? And it's going to happen it's going to happen quickly. And it's going to happen hard. All right? And we've been prophesying these things. That it's going to get a lot more bleak for America, man. All right? From Reddit, I was alarmed when I heard 11 nations stop using the dollar forever until I read which countries. It says, I try to imagine which 11 countries are gaining up on the U.S., China, Canada, Mexico. How about Greenland? They've been pretty cool to us recently. Nope, the leadoff hitter is Russia, a nation which escaped largely unscathed from the recent inferno of Trump tariffs. More bizarrely, Ukraine has the number 2 spot. This is how we get repaid for $400 billion in Biden-era weapons gifts. Hey, but Trump said he was gonna stop aid over there to Ukraine. All right, and these other nations were looking at that like, giving America the side eye. All right, and we know what's up with these allies of America. Hey, the beast shall hate the whore. Because even the allies of America in this Third World War are going to turn. It says if it were up to Britain, France, and Germany, your kindergartners would be singing the Russian national anthem at the start of each day. Be glorious, our fatherland. Russia is going to be a spearhead unto these other nations in this Third World War. All right, Ezekiel 38. Are there any of these laughingstock nations applying for NATO membership? Application will likely be denied, and you better watch your step. Current members like Latvia and Estonia. Not only is your allegiance suspect, but you also don't bring anything credible to NATO troops in a hardware arsenal. That's typical American proud. And the Lord is getting ready to break these Americans' pride, man. All right. Anyways, with this, I'm going to close out giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shem El Shai, Bashem Rakakudash. Double honors to our apostles and elders, greatness on taught us truth and the well. Peace and blessings to the elect, to the next. I say shalom.